Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Fighting Illini Live. It is Wednesday, April 16th. We are about 2-3 hours removed from the news that Nico Iamaleava is coming to the Big Ten. That was the big story, taking the college football world by storm. This whole NIL dispute with Tennessee. Basically, he was just like, he's a quarterback at Tennessee. If you're not familiar with their team, although if you're watching this channel, I'm sure you are familiar with this story. He was the quarterback at Tennessee, wanted a lot more NIL money. Tennessee said, you're not good enough for that NIL money, which I agree. And then enter the portal that day after they said that. Tennessee was like, yeah, we're done with you. So he's coming to UCLA. He's coming to the Big Ten. But Illinois doesn't play UCLA, so we don't have to worry about that. Because today, instead, we are going to get into some Illinois transfer news, unfortunate transfer news, as well as the defensive line position group preview. We are also going to be talking about class of 2026 if we have the time for it. Of course, I know these last couple position group previews have been taking quite a bit of time. So we're going to try to get through that as quick as we possibly can so we can talk some recruiting news. So, of course, tonight's episode is brought to you on the voice of college football. Get your business, product, service, or personal brand to the next level by partnering with the voice of college football. See what our partner Win Agency has to say about its sponsorship experience with us. Let's discuss how you also can reach your target market. Contact us at sponsorships@vocfb.com today. That is sponsorships@vocfb.com. I've also dropped that email as well as my personal Instagram in the chat. Let's talk about some big news this week. Because the big news, if you hadn't seen, that broke about last night. I didn't want to make a breaking news video on it because it was within 24 hours of our episode. So I didn't want to, I figured it would just be best to wait for the episode since those have been getting the most views. Josh McCray has entered the transfer portal. That is a senior running back. He has spent the last 4 years at Illinois. Some injury problems. That's why he's going a fifth year. That's a big loss for the Illini in the running back room. If you wanted to know my thoughts on him in the running back room as a whole, before this all happened, you can check out my running back position group preview that is up on the channel now on its own. He had 117 carries, for 609 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he was the Citrus Bowl MVP. He absolutely torched the Gamecocks. He was also, I didn't know this, but according to the Illini Inquirer, he was Bielema's first high school recruit that he got at Illinois. So what this means, first of all, I was very shocked by this news. I think most other Illini fans certainly are shocked as well. There's not really a clear reason for it as well. My guess would be money. All right. I mean, that's kind of another reason other than him just coming to the Big Ten and taking the college football world by storm with Nico Iamaleava is just money. It's just a different game now. I'm guessing there was money dispute because, again, he wasn't really going to start, as I said in my running back position group preview a couple of weeks back. He's kind of in a three-way timeshare situation with Caden Fagan and Aiden Lawfrey, who are now both really going to have to step up, a lot like McCray and Lawfrey did last year when Fagan was injured. So we have to pray that Caden Fagan gets through this year after missing most of the season last year. And Aiden Lawfrey, who I'm really excited for both of them, honestly. But I think especially Lawfrey now, definitely going to get a lot of touches. He's the clear number 2 guy, again, like he was at the end of the year last year, maybe even number 1. It all depends on how well Fagan does when he comes back. So it's Fagan and Lawfrey are really going to have to step up, is what that means. Some other guys are going to get to step up as well. Khalil Valentine is going to get to step up. He had a couple carries every game last year. He was kind of expected to be buried in the depth chart, but now he would be third on that depth chart behind Fagan Lawfrey, which you can kind of exchange at 1 and 2. Him and probably some freshmen. Cedric Wish, certainly, or Forster as well. I think both could see a couple carries, kind of a role like Khalil Valentine took last year. So he's not going to be in a starting kind of role like Fagan and Lawfrey are, but Khalil Valentine, definitely look for that name as well. He's definitely going to be getting more carries this year because of this McCray news. So, I mean, you never want to say that something like this is good, right? Clearly this is not good. I don't know. There's been a real influx of transfers now that we've gotten into spring ball. North Carolina has had a ton of transfers now that Bill Belichick's run a spring camp there. For example, they're having it the worst. This is the only one to leave Illinois in this new recent April wave of the football transfer portal. But I was pretty shocked. He just did an interview with the Illini Inquirer like a couple days ago, talking about how he's the most comfortable he's felt in his entire professional career. That obviously wasn't true because he's gone a week later. I really don't know what else to say. I'm really sad to see him go. He's a big guy, physical back. Fagan certainly is that too, but still there's some injury concerns with him just because you don't know how good he is going to be coming back. So I hate to see that, but while it is not good, I do like to see the door open for Lawfrey, especially. Fagan was going to have that door open no matter what, but Lawfrey now has a clear path to getting the most carries on this team. If not, then still second, which will be a lot. And then Khalil Valentine as well is really going to get his chance to shine. Maybe some freshmen. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that is the big Illini news that broke just about last night. That Josh McCray is entering the transfer portal. When I find out where he is going, or when we find out, as the public finds out where he is going, I will update you guys on that. I'm really interested to see where he goes. I would guess another Big Ten school, if I'm being honest, like Big 10, Big 12, something like that. It's probably going to be a pretty lateral move, kind of what we saw to Morez Johnson in basketball, because I think money has to be the main motivator for this. He had no indication that he was discontent with anything. So it just has to be asking for money, but he's not really the starter, so it's hard to ask for more money when you're not the starter. I'm looking at the Tennessee guy. He is the starter, and I mean, I always thought he's overrated, but still, he asked for a lot of money. They said no, and I know I like to see that. I like to see colleges putting their foot down on some of these guys because it's an entirely different game. It's an entirely different game. That loyalty, that purity that comes with not being money motivated in college is completely gone. It's all about money. It's essentially another professional sport. I mean, it always kind of was on that level in terms of viewership, but now there's absolutely no question that money, name, image, likeness is the number one priority. I do not know that for a fact. I am speculating here on Josh McCray, so do not quote me on that, but I don't know what else it could be. I think most of the transfers, especially that we're getting now in the spring, are highly money motivated, other than the influx of North Carolina guys. Like when there's a bunch of guys leaving after the first camp with a new coach, I think that's a different story. But I'm speculating that money is the main motivation here. I mentioned basketball. I do want to say real quick before we move on to our position group preview that Will Riley and Kasparas Yakashonis are both going to the NBA draft. They both declared earlier this week. That is not really breaking news. That is not really shocking. They were projected to do so, both of them. Wishing them luck. That's really all there is to that. And I don't really have a take to share on that because that's not a surprise. I mean, they expected them both to be one and dones. They are one and done. So good luck to both Yakashunis and Riley. Okay, let's get into the defensive line position group preview. And hopefully then I can get this done in these back 20 minutes, and then we can talk some recruiting news for 2026. If not, I'll push that to next week, though. That's not necessarily urgent. So there's 14 defensive linemen that we are going to be talking about tonight. Step down from the, 19 last week? I can check my notes. Yep, 19 last week. That was rough. But we got 14 this week on the other side of the ball. Starting our defensive preview as a whole, we have 4 returners. That is Jeremiah Warren, Alex Bray, Pat Farrell, and Gentle Hunt, my favorite name on this list. 3 transfers then, and the transfers are going to be big in this one. The last couple positions, there's only been like 1 or 2 transfers. But this one, with the exception of wide receiver, I feel like transfers haven't really had a big impact on this position group preview. Remember these 3 names that I'm about to tell you. These 3 transfers are Tomiwa Durojaye, James Thompson Jr., and Kurt Neal. There are then 5 returners who did not play. That is Angelo McCollum, Demetrius John, Guillermo Gallardo, Stephen Scott III, and Henry Engel. And then there are 2 new recruits, Cameron Brooks and Isaiah White. So, as always, I'm going to start with the returners, starting with Jeremiah Warren. He will be wearing number 8. That is a switch from his number 55 he wore last year. He is 6'3", 305 pounds. He is a sophomore from Belleville, Michigan. He played in all 12 regular season games last year as a redshirt freshman. He recorded 10 tackles across those 12 games. He's definitely, I think, going to step that up this year with not a ton of competition necessarily. There's no like clear standouts, I feel, at the position, especially for returners. You could argue that there are some at transfers. I'll get into that later. But I think definitely all 4 of these returners are, I mean, he played in all 12 regular season games already, but that was as a freshman. So I think it's fair to assume this is a big sophomore. He's one of the biggest guys on this entire list, and he's a sophomore. So definitely expect him to step it up. I'm very excited for Jeremiah Warren's future. Alex Bray, number 11. He is 6'4", 270. He is a junior from Chesterfield, Missouri. He played in all 13 games last year, so that includes the Cheez-It Bowl. Warren did not play in that game. He got 8 games for the Illini in 2023 as well. He had 20 tackles last year and a career-high 3 against Penn State and Rutgers. It's nice to have him back. Really nothing else to say about that. He's going to be a clear starter because he's been with the team for a couple years now. He doubled Jeremiah Warren's tackle total. So exciting to have Bray back. I don't know if I would describe him as dynamic, but solid. That's really all you need. I like his stat line. I'd like having a junior up there since there's 2 sophomores. 2 of the 4 returners are sophomores. So I'd like to see his experience up there a little bit as well. He had the best stats of any of the 4 returners we're going to be discussing. So he is a clear starter. Pat Farrell will be wearing number 52. He is 6'5", 280 pounds. He's a sophomore from Oak Lawn, Illinois. He played in all 12 regular season games. He had 4 tackles across those 12 games and half a sack. That half sack came against Penn State, so very impressive. And lastly, the last returner is going to be Gentle Hunt. He's number 92. He's 5'11", but he's 305 pounds. And that is crazy. He's very compact. He is a senior. He's the only senior returner from High Springs, Florida. He transferred to Illinois from Florida A&M. He spent 4 years there, actually. He got a COVID year. That's why. He's getting a 5th year here. And then he played last summer. He played in 5 games, the Illini, before then redshirting the season. First of all, 5 games is almost half the regular season. I find it crazy that you could redshirt after playing 5 games. Second of all, redshirt senior. Never heard of that before. But that's what we got. So he already spent 4 years. So really, I mean, this is his 6th year in college. So he definitely has the most experience. He had 2 tackles in those 5 games last year, by the way. But 2023, his last full season, that was with Florida A&M. He had 32 tackles for 5.5 sacks and a forced fumble in 12 games, and he was named All-SWAC second team. So none of these returners, like last week when we were talking about the offensive line returners, right? There's a lot of real standout guys like, oh my God, they were all Big Ten honorable mention and they were all this and all that. These guys are a little less hardware to go with them, if you will. But they still bring that nice experience. They bring team experience, but they're not going to necessarily clog the top of the depth chart like we've seen at most other positions. Since, again, I say this every week, but it really is just going to be the identity of this team for the entire 2025 season, that this team has one of the most highest return rates in the country. So that's what we've been getting a lot at our position group previews. However, the transfers are going to make a big impact at this position because they are actually going to be the most experienced, even if it's not with the Illini. Starting with Tomewa Durojaye. He is wearing number 36. He is 6'5", 300 pounds. He is a junior from Middleton, Delaware. He is transferring from Florida State. He's transferring with 2 years of eligibility remaining, so we'll have him for 26 as well, assuming he decides to stay. He played in 4 games at FSU last year. He had 3 tackles, 1 for a loss, and 1 sack. Pretty solid for only playing those 4 games before he decided to redshirt and then Illinois. But he's jumped around a lot, which is why of the 3 transfers, though they all have nice stat lines, he's the most concerning to me because he does have another year of eligibility, but he was also at West Virginia in 2023. He played in all 13 games for them. He had 23 tackles, 6 of them for a loss. He had 3.5 sacks and 1 QB hurry. He then played in 3 games at Kentucky in 2022. So Illinois is his 4th school in 4 years. And that always worries me. I don't know if that's reason to be concerned, but dudes who always do that don't typically stick around. So I wouldn't get excited about him having those 2 years of eligibility remaining. He also didn't play much last year, so I feel like he's a big question mark because he only got in those 4 games. He did pretty well in those 4 games. They had 3 tackles and a sack in 4 games. That's not bad. That's certainly not a bad start to the season. But I'm just a little concerned because of that and just that he's jumped around a lot. So I don't know what kind of role he is going to play. I'm a little skeptical. However, these next 2 guys you are going to be seeing a lot this year, and they are both new. They are both transferring from Wisconsin. Really interesting. They're bringing 2 defensive linemen from Wisconsin. The first is James Thompson Jr. He's wearing number 90. He is 6'6", 300 pounds. My Lord. He is a 5th-year senior from Cincinnati, Ohio, transferring from Wisconsin with 1 year of eligibility remaining. He played 5 years already at Wisconsin. He redshirted 2020, so that's why that didn't count. And then he missed 10 games last year due to injury. So he's another guy coming off injury. So he didn't play a lot last year, but he's had a really solid career. He played in all 13 games in 21, 22, and 23. So injuries haven't riddled his career. It really is just this one big injury from last year, so I'm not as concerned about that. He had 29 tackles, 5 for a loss, 3 sacks in his last full season in 2023, and he led the team in tackles that year. I love to see a guy not only with experience, but specifically Big Ten experience. This isn't going to feel like a whole new world to him. I think he's going to settle in very well. Of course, we're hoping that he recovers from his injury that he had last year. But because of that, he was granted another year of eligibility, and he's choosing to take it at Illinois. So maybe that's fate. Look out for James Thompson Jr. Next is Kurt Neal, number 99. He is 6 foot, 300 pounds. That's crazy. He's 6 inches shorter, but he's still 300 pounds. Damn. He is a junior from Cornelius, North Carolina. Also transferring Wisconsin. However, he has 2 years of eligibility remaining. He started every game for them at defensive tackle in 23 and 24. He had 29 tackles, 3 of them for a loss and half a sack last year, and he led the team in tackles last year. So Wisconsin's last 2 tackles leaders in 23 and Thompson and now Neal in 24 are both Illini. And he had a 4 tackle game. That was his season high. 4 separate times, though, he reached that, including one against then number 1 ranked Oregon. I love to see them stealing from Wisconsin. Again, I mean, I just kind of I'll just rehash this of what I just said from Thompson like a minute ago, that I like to see that he has not just experience, but Big Ten experience. I think Neal and Thompson are going to be running that defensive line. Now let's get into some returners who did not play last year. We have 5 of them. This is Angelo McCollum, wearing number 44. He is 6'2", 290. He's a sophomore from Pickerington, Ohio. That's fun. 3-star recruit, 4-year letter winner. He was the OCC Ohio Defensive Player of the Year and Division I Central Ohio District Defensive Player of the Year his senior year. He also played basketball, wrestled, and threw shot puts. A 4-sport athlete, my goodness. His other offers were Indiana, Pitt, and then almost the entire MAC conference. Next is Demetrius John, number 54. He is 6'3", 270 pounds. He's a redshirt freshman from Columbus, Ohio, a 3-star recruit ranked number 28 in the state of Ohio, according to On3. He had 125 tackles, 16 sacks, and 52 pressures across his high school career. He in 2023 was All-Ohio second team. That's really impressive. Wow. His other offers, at least the notable ones, are Indiana, Michigan State, Vanderbilt, Boston College, and West Virginia. So always when you get to these players that did not play, it's usually going to be those redshirt freshmen that actually have the best chance to play, even though they're the youngest, because the only reason they didn't play was because they redshirted. And it's sure, I mean, we have some guys on here now that are sophomores who did redshirt and still didn't get to play after redshirting. But they're the most likely to see the field of any of them. Demetrius John is one of the 2 of these 5 returners who did not play. So especially look out for that name. Guillermo Gallardo, that's fun as well. Number 56, he is 6'3", 315. Damn. He's a junior from Bloomington, Illinois. He played 2 seasons at New Mexico Military Institute before he transferred to Illinois last year, and then he did not play. In 2023, though, at the New Mexico Military Institute, he played 9 games. He had 25 tackles. One of those was for a loss. Stephen Scott III, number 67. He is 6'5", 285 pounds. He is a redshirt freshman as well. The other one to look out for from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He was a 2-star recruit coming out of high school. He played at, oh boy, this is high school. Hold on. This just looks like a jumble of letters. Menomonee Falls is what I'm going to guess. I'm so sorry to anyone from Menomonee Falls High School. But that's where he went. He was an offensive tackle there, actually. And he only had one other notable offer that was from Air Force. We'll see how he transitions as a defensive tackle. He's obviously redshirted last year, so didn't get to see that, but he's been working on it for a year and a half now. We'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Last, a returner as Henry Engel. He is number 93. He is 6'2", 295. He's a sophomore from Illini, Illinois. He's a redshirt in 2023. I apologize. He is a sophomore, but he redshirted in 2023 and then did not play in 2024. He was not ranked out of high school. He was a 3-year letter winner, though, and he won 3 straight state championships. He also wrestled and threw shot put. He almost got all the things that Angelo McCollum got done. You just had to play basketball, too, on top of all of that, and you would have matched him. Lastly, 2 new recruits on the defensive line that I want to talk about. Cameron Brooks, number 91. He is 6'3", 305. He is a freshman from Chicago, Illinois. He is a 3-star recruit, number 14 in Illinois by 24/7 Sports. He is 2023 All-Southwest Suburban Blue Conference player. He had 127 tackles, 38 of those for a loss, and 13 sacks across his high school career, and some decent other offers, including Cincinnati, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, and Kansas State. It's like we got a lot of defensive linemen Indiana wanted. It came to Illinois. Lastly, Isaiah White. He has no number listed. I've talked about how I think that means he's going to redshirt, but you never know that for sure. He's 6'3", 300 pounds. He's a freshman from Indianapolis, Indiana. He is a 3-star recruit and was ranked number 10 in the state of Indiana by rivals in the 2024 class. The 2025 class. We're on recruits now. 4-year letter winner. He won a state title as a junior, and in 2024, he was All-Marion County. Other offers included Boston College, Louisville, Michigan State, Minnesota, Washington, and West Virginia. So overall, to put a bow on this defensive line position group preview, now that we're through all 14, I really like the transfers in this one. And that, as I was saying earlier, not really the case, except in the wide receiver position group preview. Justin Bowick coming in from Ball State, and then also from West Virginia. This was episode 6. I did this, by the way, if you want to check in on episode 6. Hudson Clement is his name, from West Virginia. That's the big one. Like those 2 guys, right, are going to have a big impact on the wide receiver group because 2 stars are leaving. This is kind of how I feel too, right? It's Kurt Neal and it's James Thompson Jr., who I think are really going to make an impact as 2 transfers from Wisconsin. Illinois also gets to play Wisconsin. I always love to have guys doing a revenge game. Now that is a big thing in college. It used to be pretty rare to have a revenge game in college, but you got guys transferring within the same conference now. I mean, you got, again, just a whole different scape. But I like our 2 transfers from Wisconsin to lead the way on this defensive line. This will be one of the positions, since it's really the only other position that's not going to be started completely by guys that were there last year. It's going to be the defensive line and the wide receivers that are really going to determine if this team improves or moves backwards. We only got a minute left, so I think I'm going to save that 2026 recruiting news for next week. I want to give those guys their proper introduction to the Illini fan base, and I just don't think a minute is enough time to get that done. So thank you very much for watching tonight. Next week is episode 10. I'm very excited to hit double digits. I keep looking out for that Josh McCray news on the transfer portal. Next week, we're going to be doing linebackers in the position group preview as we continue with the defense. And then also I will be getting to those class of 2026 recruiting updates, as I said, as well. Enjoy the NBA playoffs. Let's check in on our Chicago Bulls. They're playing right now. They are down a lot. Okay, so the Bulls will not be in the playoffs. Wow. But still enjoy the NBA playoffs. I think it'll be pretty exciting. I think it's one of the best playoffs I've had in a while. I will be dropping my NBA playoff predictions on my personal Instagram later in the week, so look out for that. I drop my Instagram in chat. It's also on the ticker below. Thank you so much. Linebackers and 2026 class await you next week. Thanks for watching. ILL.